Well, hello there. It's me, American Boathead, and I have with me this Predator 670cc 22 horsepower vtwin Harbor Freight motor. Now, if you're watching this, you're one of three different types of people. One is you're a subscriber and you just watch videos that pop up for me, and I appreciate you. Two, you have a similar engine and you cut off the ignition switch, or you got an engine without it and you want to know how to wire this together. If that's you, you owe me a like and consider subscribing. The third type of person is going to wait till the end of this video where I start this bad mamma jamma up. So I'm just going to give a quick explanation of what all these wires do. So let's go. First, we have this starter solenoid. It has two wires coming off of it, a white one that normally has a black shroud around it, and a black one with a white stripe that goes to the center. Now, the black one with the white stripe is telling this solenoid to make a connection of electricity to send all the juice to this starter to spin her up. This one is giving the juice. This white one that normally has a black shroud on it is giving power from this all the way to your switch panel. When this black wire touches this, or any kind of power, it completes the circuit and it tells the starter to spin. So I'm going to send power to this momentary button switch. Remember, it's getting power from this positive lead here that's going to my battery. Now that is going into the switch, and out of the switch I'm going to the black with a white stripe wire, and this will have a momentary juiceness. See that? Off of this electricity, we're also going to run the other solenoid. See this yellow wire goes to right here, and these yellow and green wires zigzag around and they go up to the bottom of this carburetor, where they have another solenoid that plunges closed when there's no power. Then when you run 12 volts to it, it opens up. So I have a temporary ground system here so you can see what I'm talking about. So when I touch the ground, since I already have power going to the yellow lead, when I touch the ground, you should be able to hear the solenoid kicking in. So just keep in mind that as long as you want the engine running, you need power going to this yellow one and ground going to this. You can either have it full-time power and interrupt the power source with a switch like this, or you can have the ground that's interrupted by a switch. Either way, I'm going to put it on here to where I have to flip this switch on in order for the engine to run, and I can shut off. Now, this next thing I'm going to explain might be a little controversial because some people want to keep this and I don't. What it is a low oil sensor. Way down here, there's a yellow wire coming through the block of the engine. When there's low oil or the engine's tipped over, and this little sensor on the other side of the crankcase detects that there's low or no oil, it'll ground out. And it'll send all the way up to this little box here that has three wires coming out. And it'll ground everything that's connected to that. So I'm going to take off all of this because you don't need any of that if you don't need a safety ground out system for the oil level. I'm going to check mine meticulously, and it's going to be in a boat where it won't be tilted over. So you can delete this easily. Okay, now it's going to get a little more complex, but don't worry, you don't need to understand how it works to make it work. Coming out of the bottom of the crankcase, seemingly, is two wires. These wires are connected to what's called a stator. There's a big flywheel in here with magnet, and in between that, connected to the engine, is 3 coil packs. And what happens when you run magnets around coils is it generates electricity. So that electricity comes through these two wires down here, yellow and a white, and they plug into these two blue wires, and they go into this, which is called a rectifier. This rectifier turns the voltage, which is alternating current, into direct current. This wire goes back to your battery to help charge it up so you can start again. But you have to have what's called a diode on it. If you look really closely on this, it has an arrow pointing there and a wall right there. That means that electricity can go through here and out here to your battery to help charge it, but it won't go from your battery back into your rectum fryer and down into your coil and who knows, cause damage maybe. Also coming off of your flywheel magnetical field magic thing is your coils. Now your coils are stationed around your flywheel, and when the magnet passes those, it creates a high voltage scenario sending electricity through your spark plug wire and into your spark plug. But that won't happen if your coil is grounded out, and that's where these two black wires come into play. These two black wires go through here and they Y off or Y into one single black wire that goes into another diode, kind of like the one for the power source, and then it connects to both of the coils. And if these are grounded out ever, like touching there or touching the block somewhere, it's going to keep those coils from sending electricity to your spark plug, thus keeping it from running. So this is a great place to hook your kill switch. So what you do, you only need one of these, you can get rid of the other one. What you do is you wire this to one side of a kill switch. In my case, it's going to be a lanyard one. It'll be wired to one side, and the other side will be grounded out at all times. And when you pull this, fall out of the boat or whatever, then it connects it, and then it touches, in essence, the ground, stopping your spark. So then it stops running. Neat, right? Now I'm going to demonstrate how that works so that there's no doubt in your mind what's going on. I have an extra spark plug laying around, and I'm going to take the wire off and I'm going to plug it into here so I don't have to take out this spark plug. I'm going to touch it to somewhere ground, like these head bolts, and I'm going to see if there's a spark there. Now if these are grounded out, there won't be a spark. Let's test it. Watch carefully right here for a spark. See that? Now we're going to try it while this is grounded out. So I'm going to also hook it to this temporary ground that I had set up. And we'll try it again and see if there's a spark. No spark. Now we're going to disengage the kill switch, as it were. And there's our spark plug. Neat, right? Okay, so now I'm plugging that back in. And all I have to do to get this thing to run is make sure this isn't grounded out, but I'm going to keep it handy so I can turn off the engine. So make sure it's not grounded out. Make sure this yellow wire down here is not grounding out. Make sure that my solenoid in the carburetor needs power. The reason they do that is to keep gas from going in still while the spark is cut off, and a lot of times it'll cause a backfire. So this is to prevent backfires. So you need voltage here. There is ways to delete this. You can pull the solenoid out of the carburetor and cut off the plunger part. So no matter what, it's never going to cut off flow. And you might even be able to just find a bolt that fits the threads and plug it off, but I'm not sure about that. So I'm going to hook this up to my ground. Hear that solenoid? That way I'm letting fuel go through into the carburetor. I don't need to charge my battery right now or run any lights or anything. This is not grounded. The yellow one's not grounded. The black one has my signal. It's hooked up to the switch, and I'm getting power off of there to the switch and to the solenoid. So now all I need for this thing to run is some fuel. Gonna gas her up and give her a go. All right, let's give it a shot. Okay, I'm gonna hold the choke on. Try to get something going here. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Neat. Neat, right? Okay. So I have the ground here to shut it off when I need to. So let's give it another shot. This time might not need so much choke. And there you have it. She ran. Purred like a kitten. These are already hot. All right, well, if this helped you out, make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons. And most importantly, gosh darn it, go build a mini boat. All right. All right, this is for all the end watchers. Remember how the audio cut out when I revved it up? Well, since you watched to the end, you get to hear it roar. And comment down below, end watcher. That's it. Nobody will know what the hell you're talking about.